Hello, I'm Ethan Chazen, a New York-based organization development coach, and today I want to talk about this concept of employee-employer loyalty. And it's interesting to me because when I talk to business owners, when I'm consulting with clients about their employee talent acquisition, talent retention strategies, just the mere fact that they can speak with certain language is still indicative of their mindset about how they do and do not value their employees. So let's talk a little bit about this concept of a mutual beneficial employee-employer relationship. Okay, that's predicated on trust and loyalty and caring. Let's start out with this concept of if you hire an employee to come into your organization, there should be, from the organization's perspective, almost zero interest or inclination towards terminating that employee. Now, guaranteed that you're going to have the flexibility to terminate on cause. Something happens, the employee does something, you sever the relationship, clearly. That's a caveat, that's a given. But absent of that situation arising from the employer perspective, the notion of loyalty, which is truly a two-way relationship construct, means when you trust somebody enough that they possess the skills, background, experience, education, the prior performance to not only do the job in the current role you're recruiting for, but for them to grow with you, that's a given. But also you're bringing them in because ostensibly both parties agree that the employee and the employer share values. That's trust. That's what we call mature trust, not blind trust, not childish trust. That's mature trust. So if you're an employer and you bring an employee, whether you have 5 employees or 50,000, you bring an employee into your organization. If you really want dual trust and loyalty in the relationship, you operate under an understanding that there's not to be terminations. And unfortunately, that doesn't exist. So I've been doing this consulting with over 500 organizations for 15 years. Prior to that, I spent 20 years in corporate America. That was almost never the case. It was never the case that an employer brought an employee into an organization and said, you have a guarantee that because we trust each other, we're bringing you into our organization. If you perform at a high level, we'll continue to have faith in you and continue to maintain this relationship. Okay? That's a starting point. There are some other elements of trust that factor into the employer side of the equation. And I'm going to walk you through them now. Okay. So for you as an organization to talk the talk about employees today need to trust us more. These Gen Zs don't trust us. We need employees who are committed and loyal to us. This is from the employer perspective. Okay. So I just mentioned that the employer needs to, in the relationship, go into the hiring and retention of an employee with the mindset of you're going to stay with us and you're going to be cultivated and nurtured here and trusted and valued. Okay, that's a starting point. But the manifestation of employer-driven caring and loyalty towards their people sounds like this. We're going to invest in our people and not just use some cold random phrase like upskilling. Okay, that's a phrase du jour. Management always uses these new phrases like silent quitting and war on talent. Upskilling is actually an ongoing commitment that the employer, your organization, makes to your people to consistently identify opportunities for them to advance. And it's not just career and professional development, it's performing at a high level the skills that are needed for success in the current role, giving the employee all the resources, all the certifications, all the training, coaching, mentoring, memberships and professional affiliations and organizations. That's the totality of the investment that an organization makes to their people to be loyal. Okay, so you can call it upskilling, but I'm talking about constant ongoing training and development for the role that the employee is currently in, as well as a path forward in their career trajectory with you in the future. Advancement. Some employees look for this, some don't, and you have to build out the relationship with every employee that you have differently. Some employees are going to want to become proficient in the role that they're currently in, and that's it, and that's fine. It's not a value statement. I'm not passing judgment on those employees who want to become experts in the position they're in. Other employees are going to have different wants, needs, desires, and their mindset may change over time. So what's needed to build and maintain trust and loyalty with every employee is constant dialogue and conversation and talking to them about where they see themselves in the future with your organization and how both parties, the employer, and the employees that have made a commitment to you can work together to partner. And that's when you start to get mutually beneficial, or in the wild, we call it mutually symbiotic, win-win relationships between employer and employee that are predicated on trust and service and loyalty. There's another aspect of building and maintaining employee loyalty, and that comes with autonomy. And autonomy means giving over control of the employee to the employee. So that's a shift in mindset for you as an organization. It means no longer do you 20th century mindset, command control pyramid, manufacturing industrial era, bygone era, I might add, where the organization's structure is built on controlling and dominating employees. Autonomy means, here, employee, we're giving you the keys to the kingdom. We trusted you enough that when we hired you and brought you into this organization, we exhibited loyalty to you. Both parties exhibit loyalty jointly in a mutually beneficial relationship. So we've given loyalty to you and trust that you've earned. You've earned it through your tenure here and your performance here, that you're going to get greater and greater autonomy. And autonomy specifically means a few things. Autonomy means you, employee, have control over your work. We are here as an organization to guide you to reap the benefits of your performance, but we're going to maximize the likelihood that you're going to succeed with us, because we're going to create an environment, a culture, a relationship in which we foster your ability to unleash your untapped potential. And this is what autonomy sounds like. You, employee, control how you do your work. You control what you work on, where you work from, and that's a big deal post-COVID with hybrid and remote work options, and who you work with. So we don't tell you automatically, these are the individuals who work in your team. In order for you to perform at a high level in your current role, and as we expand your roles and responsibilities moving forward, as you earn our trust because of high performance, will allow you to continue to have greater control. Where does this come from? Where does this notion that organizations should automatically demand and expect and receive all of their employees' loyalty, commitment to the organization, but it's not a two-way street? And where that comes from is a leftover mindset from the 20th century, the old way of doing things in corporate America, that the employee was going to subjugate or genuflect or make themselves at the altar of the organization, make themselves vulnerable for the mere benefit of receiving this thing called indentured servitude, a paycheck. That's gone. So for an organization, a business owner, a senior leadership team, to demand and expect an employee's unwavering commitment, loyalty to the organization, but to not give it meaningful reciprocation or a meaningful two-way partnership is just incredibly hypocritical. So I've gone through a list of things. You're going through your talent acquisition processes, your HR workflow process from onboard to offboard, the lifetime of the employee experience with your organization. It starts with finding the people who match your values, beliefs, background, career, professional desires, their prior experiences in their communities that they live in, their volunteer work. So they're going to have exhibited already a track record of behavior that says they're likely to fit into the culture of your organization. Then, when you recruit them, there's a two-way dialogue about expectations both parties bring in for the role that you may be hiring for that individual in the current capacity, the current vacancy, but a path forward. And you talk about that in the interviewing, in the recruiting, in the hiring process. And then from the moment that you extend an offer to that employee, you've made a commitment to them. And they in turn have made a commitment or will make a commitment to you. But again, there's something that's been missing in my dialogue with hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners and startups and family businesses and corporations and nonprofits. It's this just kind of automatic assumption that the employee is going to be the ones to come into the organization, and because you're paying them, there's an expectation that they will perform and act and behave in a way that is commensurate with what your expectations are. There's never a two-way dialogue. When was the last time your organization asked your employees, what have we done to build your trust? What are we doing to earn your trust and keep your trust? Do you trust our organization? Do you believe in our vision and mission statements and our values? Are we performing as an organization in the communities that we serve in a way that's commensurate or ideally what we promised you they would be when you chose to commit to our organization versus maybe another organization that you could have gone to work for? So this is the idea of two-way trust and loyalty that goes back and forth, that emanates equally in a bona fide partnership between the people who have committed themselves to come in and contribute to your organization, we call them employees, and your organization. So please remember, your organization has an equal, if not even a greater responsibility to forge mutually beneficial relationship, to earn trust, to maintain loyalty. That's incumbent on your organization. And the extent to which you infuse or imbue this notion of organizational caring and empathy and trust and loyalty to your people, you will become a world-class organization. And I'm going to say something here, and it's really important that you get this. If you do that, you will never have a shortage of talented, qualified people. They will be drawn to your organization's culture, reputational brand that you establish, like moths to a flame. When I hear people say there's a war on talent, I say you must not really have a very strong organizational culture, do you? Because if an organization has a really strong culture, they become known for that, and the most qualified, talented people will seek them out. They will want to work in those organizations. You don't hear organizations like Google or Microsoft or Patagonia ever express frustration or concern that there's a war on talent, because they have the access to, deservedly so, access to top talent that other organizations don't, because they built a reputation of caring for their people. And I'll leave you with a thought. If your organization is willing to entertain the notion of layoffs, you do not have loyalty and you haven't earned loyalty. If an organization says to an employee, we make a commitment to you that if you perform and we invest in you and you achieve success, we promise you we will do everything in our power to never, ever, ever create a situation in which you need to leave the organization. We will never force you out because of strategy, marketplace concerns, financial performance. We will make a true bona fide commitment to you. Could you imagine an organization that actually says that to people during the recruiting and interviewing and hiring process? That's hardcore, hardcore powerful organizational culture. And it'll set you up for not only success in the near term, finding, bringing in, and keeping top talent, people who are loyal to you and committed to you and trust you. It'll set you up for lasting, long-term competitive advantage. Thanks for checking in on this video on how to create lasting trust and loyalty with your employees. If you like what you heard, please smash the subscribe button, share this, like it. Let me know in the comments feedback that you have for this video. Be sure to check out the other playlists that I put on my YouTube channel and come back often, as I'm always adding videos like this for your career, professional, and business success. Thank you.